for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, we got quite a show coming your way today. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app, also 94.3thegame.com. Thanks for being with us here. One of the good guys in the biz just announced his retirement. That is Tony Haynes. He will be joining us in just a little bit. Tony, of course, is with the Wolfpack Sports Network and has been a broadcaster up in the Triangle for many, many, many years. We'll talk to him about his career, but also get his thoughts on the big game coming up. So, well, let's just do the top 5 off the jump here because there's so much to talk about. We'll start with the top 5 at 5 here. Here we go.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard.
You ready?
Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
That would be the number one.
All right, Pilkington, what's number 1?
Number 1, we now know East Carolina's 4th out-of-conference opponent for next year. Patrick, they're going to head to. Do you got the soundbite ready?
Wait a second. Where is it?
Alabama!
Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thank you, Mr. Gump, for screaming Alabama at Jenny right there. The Pirates will open the season.
Alabama!
Jenny, one of the worst villains. One of the worst villains
in all of cinema.
In all of cinema, yeah. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that's pretty much it. The Pirates will open the season next year. So pack your bags, ladies and gents. We're going to Tuscaloosa. Sing Dixieland Delight.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Look, I am the last time East Carolina played Bama in the state of
Alabama!
A plucky upstart named Patrick Johnson was on the sidelines for the Saturday game. You can ask Coach Logan about this tomorrow. In fact, I think you ought to ask him about this tomorrow.
Will do. Was he the head coach?
Because he was the head coach, and they got screwed on a couple calls.
All
and
right.
he can tell you all about it.
Sounds good. I want to know, was our guy Dimitri throwing peanuts at you from the stands? I know you didn't know Ravanos.
I didn't even know
back
Dimitri.
then, but
Ravanos was younger than me, so he
okay.
is younger than me. So he's probably was. I don't know where he was. I don't know where Ravanos was at that point.
Your hair looks really good, and then you ruined it, and now it's back to good.
I did.
But it was...
Do we have the intern in today?
Yeah, Demetrius, he's here.
Demetrius, get on the future football schedules really quick and look that up for us. Can he do that?
Look up what?
Future football schedules for ECU.
Yeah.
You know, that FBS future site or there.
Yeah.
I want to see how many, because we talked a little bit about this yesterday. They have a run here where they're going to have like a handful of years with 7 home dates.
Talking about ECU?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a sector, if you just Google search East Carolina future football schedules, a link will come up on the ECU site.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to reel that off and give it to you to reel off or something. But I mean, if you're going to do 7 home dates, because I mean, this is all about, you got to make as much money as possible, clearly. 7 home dates, which they're kind of set up to do for several years, which means, you know, gates, ticket sales, all the things that come to the Greenville economy, but also the ECU economy with home games. You get 7 of those, you know, 4 in the conference, 3 in the non-conference. And then you do one of these paydays, like you're doing at Clemson and Northwestern and now Alabama. I like it.
Alabama!
You maximize your biggest resource as ECU athletics, your biggest moneymaker, your biggest source of income. That's football.
Yeah, so Patrick, to build off your point here, 2027, East Carolina will play 3 out-of-conference home games. They've got Western, Wake, and Georgia State. 28 will be the same. You've got State, Coastal Carolina, and Charleston Southern. 29, you have ODU and Liberty, but you don't have an FCS game yet, so we're going to assume that will be yet another 7-game home slate.
Because that's the
2030.
Clemson.
Yeah,
that's the Clemson year, isn't it?
And then 2030,
so you're not going to go
there's 2
take
road
another.
games. Thank you.
You're not going to take another
Demetrius.
pay date. Thank you, Demetrius. You're not going to take another pay date.
No.
You're not going to go get another pay date. Your payday is Clemson. Now, you could use that date to do a home and home with somebody that's advantageous. But I would much rather do what you have to do to get 7 home dates.
Yeah.
I think 7 home dates is the economic play. And going to play someone like a Northwestern or Clemson, or dare I say,
Alabama.
Has I was gonna say, has that been announced yet officially, a Northwestern thing? Did I read them off or no?
I don't know if you didn't
I
know
know.
because we weren't doing
we're
road
only
games.
doing road games. Yeah, I mean we know it's happening.
were
It's
doing
not like
home
it's something we
games.
can't report, but I'm gonna be happy. I think that's been officially announced.
It has. What world are you in?
Man, I got to keep up with so many schedules. MLB just came out today. There's a lot of schedules to keep up with.
Why
There's
are
a
you
lot of
worried
sports.
about the MLB? Why are you
Because-
worried about the MLB schedule?
Because I love the Red Sox, and they're in the
Are you?
Number 2.
Alrighty, number 2. Earlier today, the Wolfpack coach Dave Doran announced that 2 players, offensive guard Val Erickson and defensive lineman Brandon Cleveland, will miss the first half due to their ejection in the bowl game per NCAA rules, because the ejection happened in the second half. Unfortunately for East Carolina, they will be without Jason Tarpey for the entire game because the American Conference has their own rules, which causes you to miss the entirety of the following contest.
The American has stricter rules for this stuff than the IRS does with Venmo payments. I mean, this is just the craziest thing in the history of, and I mean, it just shows you
You
what
just jinxed the whole world, Patrick, by saying that. Now it's really going to
may
get
have.
tough. Yeah.
So now, this, when you compare it to the state penalty, right? It's timeout versus almost like the death penalty. I mean, really, am I wrong?
No, I mean, the crazy thing is I understand the conference having its rules, but have that for conference games. Like, why is this a rule for a
Better
non-conference
yet, get
game?
in line with everybody else. You spend them a half. Nobody spends anybody for a game. You get targeting. How long are you suspended, Pilk?
A half. And that's only if it's in the
Not a
second
game.
half. If it's in the first half, you don't even get suspended for the next game.
Yep. But you get a half, right?
Yeah.
That's
You know-
all you get for targeting.
Yeah. You know, hey, Commissioner
Get-
Pernetti, let's get some rule changes,
Get
buddy.
with
I
it,
like
Tim.
them. Come on, Tim.
Get with it, Tim. Get with it. I mean, look. So that's the NC State suspension, correct? That's not an ACC suspension. That's
just
double
NCAA
D.
rules.
Desperate Dave snoring. Just doing a half. Double D stands for Desperate Dave because that's what he is, begging for people to be into the game. All right. I need to get this out of my system before we talk to Tony because I
You
like
do.
Tony.
You do. He's a nice guy. Let's not tick him off. You can tick off every
All
other
right.
NC State fan. I couldn't care less.
Right. The other bumpkins I'm not worried about.
Door number 3.
I'm glad we have the sound bites back today.
I am too.
Sure you are. Go ahead.
Number 3. The 5th most expensive ticket this weekend is East Carolina and NC State. It's the only
Right.
game on this list of top 5 that features a non-Power 4 school. It's the only game on this top 5 in which neither team has played in a national championship game in this century. It's the only game in the top 5 in which it's being played on a weeknight as opposed to Saturday or Sunday. And it's number 5.
It dawns on me that you're not going to be able to get any Skoll or PBR in about a 60-mile radius of West Raleigh. You know?
No, you will not.
So this is obviously speaking to the power of a couple things. See, both teams are looking forward to the season ahead. Both, at least internally, have high hopes, it would seem. And I think this just screams to you have to have, unless you are a national brand, you have to have in-state rivalry and regional rivalry games. And you have to have those games that people care about. NC State is in the same conference now as Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and SMU. Two teams on the West Coast in the liberal hotbed of already pretty liberal state. And so if you think about this, Pilk, is the average NC State fan backer juice dribbling off the side of his mouth down his chin, bib overalls, camo hat? Is the average NC State fan, do you think they are looking forward to the visitors from Palo Alto coming to Raleigh? Do you think they're looking forward to the visitors from Boston? No. Now they'll still, if they think they're going to be good, you know, they still sell a lot of. I'll give the devil their due. They sell a lot of tickets in Raleigh. But this is, I bet the secondary market on those tickets, you could get in for less than $20.
Oh, for sure.
I'm talking about for like a family of 4.
Yeah.
So
Now,
I mean, it's a reason it's a hot ticket. Look, those State fans if you haven't bought your ticket yet, you might want to just sit on that cash, because when the Pirates win, you're going to need to be able to afford the therapy and the Bojangles. No offense to Bojangles, but we know that's what they love to eat.
Hey, I will say there's a lot of agriculture at State, but there's engineering at State too, and some of those engineers might be out in Silicon Valley right now working. So at least when State goes to Stanford, maybe there'll be some Wolfies at the game. That's the only benefit to this whole All Coast Conference. Wolfies down.
All right, let's see here. What are we on? Number 14. What is this?
4.
Yeah, buddy. Number 4. The NFL. 53-man rosters were due today at 4 o'clock. Notable cuts for the Carolina Panthers include wide receiver Hunter Renfrow. His release means they're probably not trading Adam Thielen. Also, the Browns have decided to keep 3 quarterbacks. They have kept Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, who they also announced will be the second-string quarterback, and, of course, starter Joe Flacco.
Right. Well, on the Cleveland thing, I mean, no surprise there other than Sanders. But they did draft if they had another quarterback, would they have cut Shedeur Sanders? Probably so.
No, they had another quarterback. They traded him. They traded Kenny Pickett yesterday.
That's true. That's true. And they must have decided. I'm just saying, if they had a true other quarterback, in other words, if you had a superstar or a guy that was younger.
Yeah, they would. Well, they probably wouldn't have drafted Shedeur, but yes, they would have cut him had they drafted.
You would have kept, or if Deshaun Watson was not Deshaun Watson.
Good way to put it.
Yes. You might have Flacco as the backup because you do want a veteran presence, and he's serviceable. And then maybe you take the young guy, and that's it. Or you might have kept Pickett. You never would have drafted Shedeur Sanders. But
you might have drafted. You might have drafted Gabriel, and then you would have Gabriel, Flacco, and Deshaun. Not a bad room.
Is this a bad room?
Yeah. This is a very bad room.
Okay. Not a good room.
No.
The Renfrow thing is interesting because, the Panthers cut a reliable salad like, I'm supposed to be cutting barbecue from my diet. Unwise. Well, it's actually quite wise, but it's not on brand. I had a salad today, so I couldn't use my original thought and joke of me cutting salad because I actually had the big salad today with grilled chicken.
There you go.
Look, Renfrow's going to land on his feet. He'll be catching third down passes for the Patriots or the Jets in no time. But, I mean, this is – and I understand maybe you have – if you retain Renfro, maybe then it makes Thielen expendable. But don't you need as many reliable, good hands guys as possible, Pilk, on that roster?
Look, I had 6 names in mind, and he was one of the 6 to keep. I thought you could – I mean, most teams keep 6.
But why would you cut a guy who, as far as we know, is a solid citizen? And as far as we know, well, we do know he's a reliable. I mean, now is he your number one? No, not even close. But is he one of your 6 best receivers on that roster?
Absolutely.
Heck yeah, it would seem that way.
Well, and then you kind of got 2 mentors instead of 1 if you keep him. Him and Thielen can kind of work together to work with these young guys.
Well, you just need you need guys that can be productive and reliable.
Guys that can help Bryce.
Precisely. Never mind helping the young receivers. Help your quarterback that you mortgage the farm on to get.
You didn't mortgage the farm. You just gave the farm away to get him.
Well, point is, the farm is gone, and you've got a 4'10" quarterback who needs all the help he can get. Got Arnold Drummond or Webster back there playing quarterback. Mayor of Munchkinland. Yeah, I'm really disappointed, Pilk, in you.
Why?
I'm really, really, really disappointed in you.
Why?
I mean, with the top 5 is like the top 5 stories of the day. Are we done? Did we hit number 5?
No, we got number 5.
Okay, well, I might save my disappointment. You might salvage this thing. Here we go.
5.
I think I know where you're going this, but I ain't bringing that thing up. If you're wanting what I think you're wanting, that ain't happening.
It's the top 5, Pilk, not Pilk's top 5, the top 5.
Major League Baseball announced their schedule for next year. The Giants and Yankees will open the season on March 25th, a Wednesday. Every other team won't play till the next day. Would you like me to read when Pirate players will be coming to the local area, or do you want to punt on this?
Yes, because I think that is what you were trying to tie it in with ECU.
Yes, I was trying to tie it in with ECU. So the Nats will host Burley and the Cardinals April 6th through the 8th. They will host Norby and Clayton McCullough in Miami June 1st through the 3rd, August 29th through the 31st. And if went ahead and just assumed that hopefully Trey will be up by this point, they will host Toronto July 27th through the 29th, and San Francisco April 17th through 19th. Going to Baltimore, they will host Toronto May 29th through 31st, September 27th through 29th. They will host Cleveland and Gavin Williams September 7th through 9th, and San Francisco on April 10th through 12th. Now, obviously, a handful of guys are starting pitchers in there, may not pitch in the local area, but notably there with Burley and with Norby.
Anytime you can go see a Pirate in the pros, it's a source of pride. And obviously, you could see that a lot in football. You could see that a lot in baseball. And it's a great source of pride.
It is. And
I
we
am
fly to
disappointed
Greece and
in
see
you.
Maeve English play.
Yes, you can fly to Greece to see Maeve English play. I'm very disappointed in you.
Look, we didn't
had
talk
5
about,
topics.
Yeah.
5 topics. And you did not mention the union, the engagement of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. How is that? That's the lead story everywhere today, and It's not in Pilk's top 5
because it's the lead story everywhere. Because look,
it's the top 5, Pilk, not the Pilk top 5.
So Patrick, when Haley Steinfeld and Josh Allen got engaged, did we talk about it? No. When
No,
Joe
nobody
DiMaggio
cares.
and Marilyn Monroe got engaged, did we talk about it on this show?
We weren't alive. We weren't
not
alive.
the point. We didn't talk about it.
Give it to Travis Kelce. He scored another 6.
Oh,
right, let's
that
go to
was
break.
good. That was good.
Let's go to break.
Oh.
We have some breaking news from Harrell, Coach Harrell, but we'll save that for later in the show. We'll come back and talk to Tony Haynes. And looking forward to that. We'll get his perspective on this matchup Thursday night. The Pirates and the Pack opening the season here on 94.3 The Game.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Listen up. He's talking now.
Sorry, thought we were vibing.
The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, 48 hours away from East Carolina at NC State to open the college season. We've got Tony Haynes from the Wolfpack Sports Network joining us again here on the Patrick Johnson Show. It's been a minute, but always good to catch up with Tony. And recently announced that at the end of the football season, he will be retiring from the network and doing so after a tremendous career here in sports broadcasting and just broadcasting in North Carolina. Even beyond NC State. Tony, great to talk to you, man. Congratulations to you, and we appreciate the time.
Hey, Patrick, always a pleasure talking to you. It seems like it was just 5 minutes ago we were doing this, right?
They all run together, but they all run together. You know, the second time that into the season the two teams meet and then they open the next season, the last time, of course, was the disastrous end of the Scotty Moe era in Greenville, which he didn't even coach in the game, and then obviously Mike Houston's first game as his tenure started. So kind of ironic in a way, a little different circumstance. You had Blake Harrell coaching and already had the interim tag removed, and then this is the first season opener as the head coach of the Pirates. So just some notes in history that guys like us like to observe and recognize. What's intriguing is Dave Doran, obviously, 13 years. You know, it was interesting. We had Joe Giglio on last week, and he said, based on his conversation with Doran, he thought Doran was pretty loose. And then he's, even speculated he wouldn't be surprised if, I don't want to say what he's speculating. He said that Doran, has talked about just how difficult things are in this kind of current era of transactional student athletes.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing about Dave Doran. He loves football, and he's a very competitive person, and he's driven by his appreciation for the competition. So I would never try to guess what Dave Doran is thinking long term. I just from my standpoint, I know with retirement, this is not a decision you make in 5 minutes. Something I've been thinking about for 3 or 4 years, and
Right.
I don't get the sense that Dave Doran has been let that enter his mind. But I'm not a mind reader either. But I think he, like most coaches, he struggles a little bit with some of the changes that we've seen here over the last 4 or 5 years. And, it's happened so quickly. It's been a blur when you go from, you start with the portal, then you get to NIL. Now you're doing revenue sharing. You have to set up a staff differently. Now you have to have general managers and player personnel directors, just like you do in the NFL. And so I think for all coaches who've been in the game for a long, long time, it's been a challenging time. It's been a challenging adjustment. And we do see some really good coaches who've decided they don't want to mess with it anymore. I don't know where Dave Doran sits on that, but I know he has been very positive here throughout the camp. He likes the team he's about to put on the field here on Thursday night. But of course, you never know with first games. We'll see.
Tony, Blake Harrell spoke yesterday about chasing ghosts. You got Kurt Roper, and now he's got a track record, obviously, of success at Duke and then at UF and South Carolina. Mm-hmm. He's back calling plays. DJ Elliott, Pirate fans, Blake Harrell familiar with him from the standpoint he was at Temple at one time, and then obviously he's got that pro influence with the Eagles. Mm-hmm. When you look at what these two will bring, particularly with Roper and C.J. Bailey, what are you anticipating, not only Thursday, but in the season ahead?
Well, I asked Coach Doran that question. We recorded his radio show actually yesterday afternoon, and it's going to air tomorrow night. But I asked him the question about Kurt Roper because he hasn't been a coordinator since 2017. And I know the temptation will be, and I'm sure the ECU coaches will be looking back at the last time Roper was their coordinator at South Carolina. And again, that was 7 or 8 years ago. But I asked Coach Doran about, it's been a while since Roper call plays was an offensive coordinator. I said, does he have maybe a different perspective on calling offenses and setting up an offensive system? And maybe he did when he was previously an offensive coordinator. And, Coach Doran was saying, well, the game has changed since Kurt was last an offensive coordinator. Teams weren't running as many RPOs back in 2017 and before that as they are now. So to a certain extent, offensive philosophies have changed. And I would imagine that now as a play caller for the first time in almost a decade, he's kind of adjusted to what is a different game since the last time he was a play caller. And so, but I'm curious to see what the install looks like and how things change now for the offense. The good thing is that last year Roper was the quarterback's coach, so he and C.J. Bailey have worked together previously through an entire season, and I think there's a level of trust there that bodes well for C.J. having a very successful season.
Well, he has Hollywood Smothers back, Jolly, Rogers, others, Grimes, the receiving spot. So we know their abilities. What do you feel like the Wolfpack will present with Bailey? He's got great vision, he can make the throws, obviously can hurt you with his legs. How does all that kind of come together in your mind? And are there some other people you're projecting that maybe have transferred in that will have an imprint as far as skill people offensively?
Yeah, well, when you're a quarterback, and especially a sophomore like Bailey, it's nice to be surrounded by talent, and he's got plenty of talent at the skill positions. And he's a guy that took advantage of that last year. He got better and better and better as the season progressed. And, I was just looking at his stats. And, I mean, there's only one other rookie quarterback in the history of NC State football that threw more touchdown passes in his first year, and that guy's name was Phillip Rivers. And you look at the completion percentage, right around 65%. And you look back what happened last year. Grayson McCall was going to be the veteran quarterback, and Bailey was going to be the understudy. Then McCall gets a couple of concussions early in the year. He has to just stop playing football. And here's C.J. Bailey, this 6'6", 180-pound toothpick, thrown into the fire to take over the starting quarterback at the ACC level. And he couldn't have handled it any better. I mean, he was tremendous. And again, he got better as the season progressed. And, the strength of the team, offense, defense, especially, the strength of this team will be its skill on offense. You mentioned some of those guys. Justin Jolie is probably one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the country. I mean, he averaged 15 yards per catch as a tight end last year, just a big play machine. And so they have great skill on offense. Maybe the best group that NC State has had since Dave Dorn's been the coach for 13 years. They had to plug some holes on the offensive line. I think they went into the camp thinking that might be a question mark, but they seem to feel pretty good about it now after going through camp with some of the transfers that they've added.
Tony Haynes, Wolfpack Sports Network. He'll be on the sidelines on Thursday's game from Carter Finley Stadium between East Carolina and NC State. I was about to ask you about the offensive line, so we could you answered that. So, as we shift over to things defensively, couple of transfers out of Temple, North Texas, so some people that maybe ECU has seen before, but then you have others back as well, Fordham, Brown, etc. Defensively, I don't want to say there's deficiencies for both these sides defensively, but I think in some ways, Tony, East Carolina and NC State are very, very similar in that they feel pretty confident in their skill positions. They feel really confident in their quarterbacks. They feel better about the offensive line. I know that's the case in Greenville than maybe they did in the beginning of the spring or beginning of camp. Same thing with State. So I look at all this and I think, okay, well, there seem to be, while there are returners on both sides defensively, that may be where the most questions are.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And I think NC State slipped a little bit, took a step backwards on defense last year compared to what had happened previously under Tony Gibson, who really regularly fielded some of the more disruptive defenses in the ACC after he became defensive coordinator. But last year, NC State wasn't as good on defense. It gave up 30 points per game. One of the staggering stats, I was just looking at it as we started preseason camp, the Wolfpack allowed opposing teams to rush for an average of 4.8 yards per pop. So when you're giving up almost 5 yards per rush, it's hard to win. And it's certainly difficult to control a game. And so run defense was an issue. Giving up explosive plays was an issue. And a lot of it had to do with personnel. There had been some slippage last year. Caden Fordham got hurt midway through the season. He was the leader of the defense at the Mike linebacker spot. But you kind of look at the production at linebacker last year compared to what it had been. There was a time not too long ago when NC State had Peyton Wilson, Isaiah Moore, and Drake Thomas as their three linebackers. Right. That was, if not the best group in the ACC, it was in the top 2 or 3. And those guys were all productive players. All three ended up in the NFL. Moore, because of injuries, has stopped playing, and now he's a member of the coaching staff. But you got Drake Thomas and Peyton Wilson. They're playing the NFL. He's going to be a star for the Steelers. So that production at that position dropped off, especially with Caden Fordham getting hurt. And so, of course, Tony Gibson left to take over at Marshall as the head coach. DJ Elliott comes in with some different thoughts, new philosophy. I think with the defense, again, it's like the offensive line. They went into camp with some question marks, and especially with the back end. They lost a lot of people in the secondary. And so they had to plug holes again through the portal. Nickel position had been a question mark coming in. They didn't know who their nickel was going to be. They've settled in on that with a veteran guy, Jackson Vick, who gained some weight after playing corner last year, and they like what he's done at the nickel. And so, again, that was a question I asked for the radio show. I said, are there some questions you had going into camp that have now been answered? He said, yeah. He said, we feel better about what we were able to bring in through the portal in the secondary. And so many of those guys will be suiting up for NC State for the first time against a very good quarterback on Thursday, and we'll see how they respond.
The great Tony Haynes, Wolfpack Sports Network. By the way, Henry Hinton did want me to say hello to you. Henry and I do the morning show
Henry,
in addition to this.
Man, that takes me to the Wayback Machine. Back when I used to cross paths with Henry Hinton, I actually was a semi-young man.
Yeah. Well, he was still old when you crossed paths with him, so don't feel like it was that long ago. He was an old man then. No,
Yeah. Maybe I'll.
but he wanted
Google
me to
see
say
what he
hello
looks
to
like
you.
now. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Hey, let me get your opinion on this. How frequently would you feel like it makes sense for these two camps to play in football?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I enjoy it myself. I've always enjoyed NC State, East Carolina, because I grew up in an era. I was a teenager in Raleigh in the 1970s, and the season opener was always NC State and East Carolina. I mean, you look at the history. This game on Thursday, it'll be the 12th time that the Pirates and the Pack have opened up against each other. And many of those games took place when I was a teenager here in Raleigh, and ECU would always come up to Carter Finley Stadium, and they would kick off the season. They were running that option, the wishbone, with Pat Dye as the coach, and then Ed Emery came in after that. And there were some great games, and it's awesome to open the season against a opponent like East Carolina that has a history of success. And then, of course, the fan bases are really passionate about their schools. And so, for me, as someone who is accustomed to watching NC State and ECU start the season, I love it. But that's not my decision on if it's a series that should continue on a regular basis or not.
Yeah. Well, good to hear that you and I are pretty aligned in the thinking on this. Of course, you announced, I guess last week it came out that you are going to retire at the end of the season.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I remember that stand out. My dad, long-suffering Duke football fan, was a Duke fan before it was cool. But so I remember hearing you first working with Wes Chesson and the great Bob Harris on the Duke Network. And I remember the day, you may remember this, you may not, where it was your last Duke game. And you said you were leaving.
Carolina.
Yeah, and you were leaving. And so, Tony's leaving. Now, we were, from the East, so we don't know. And what we didn't know all the Raleigh scuttlebutt. I was a kid. And so we go to the game, and then we come back. We're driving back, and we put it on. NC State's playing a basketball game, and Tony is on the NC State network. So that had to be a pretty unique day for you.
Well, that probably is a first in this area. So it was 1998, and I'd made the decision in the summer of 98 to enter the portal, so to speak, right? I was transferred from Duke to NC State. I was the first portal guy, and but that I had committed to do Duke football that year, and my decision was made in July, so it would have been unfair and kind of late in the game for me to jump ship and not at least do football. And NC State already had a sideline guy for that season lined up. So what ended up happening, my last football game at Duke was the Carolina-Duke game, which at that time was always the last game of the year. And then that same night, I left Wallace Wade Stadium. I drove over to Reynolds Coliseum. NC State had an exhibition basketball game that night, and that was my first NC State broadcast, an exhibition basketball game. And I did it on the same day that I broadcast my final Duke game at Wallace Wade. So it was quite a day.
And then
maybe that day is coming back to haunt me now as I decide to retire.
Well, I thought that was kind of cool, but it was good that you were staying in the area. That was what I was thinking at the time.
I'm an NC State alum, and they started talking to me about it in the summer, and they fortunately for me, they liked the work that I did at Duke, and I had a great time at Duke, and what a phenomenal experience it was for me, because my first year at Duke was 1987, and that year they broke in a new first-year head coach by the name of Steve Spurrier. So
pretty cool.
That was that was fun, and that was a cool 3 years with Coach Spurrier there.
Never a dull moment with Steve Spurrier, especially interviewing, I'm sure. Let me ask you a little bit about here's another thing I remember. I heard this, and ironically enough, I was with my dad again. We were headed somewhere to again, but we were listening to you guys when you were in Omaha, And I can't remember if it was you that cracked on Han or if Han cracked on you. I got to think you busted on Han here. But he talked about
That's usually the
Carolina's
way it
bus.
happens.
Yes, he talked about Carolina's bus pulling up to the stadium. And you said something like, why were you waiting outside the Carolina bus for autographs? We busted out laughing. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember
that was a good line. Yeah. Well, there you
one
go.
Of the things
That's what stands
but
out.
the one thing I do remember, and it struck me as really an amazing sight as we looked at it from the radio booth, is when NC State and North Carolina lined up the first and third base lines for the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
And, I remember taking a picture of it because I thought it was something to be proud of if you're a Triangle baseball fan, to see the Carolina blue down the third baseline, NC State red down the first baseline, and here they were about to face off against each other in the College World Series. I really thought that was a great moment.
Hey, Tony, congrats on a great career. Enjoy the game on Thursday night. We appreciate your time greatly.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you so much.
Tony Haynes with us. Good to talk to him. All right, little bit of, I don't know if you'd call it breaking news, Pilk.
Everyone, a little breaking news for you.
That may be too strong. But a really interesting statement on ECU as a team last night from Blake Harrell during Inside Pirate Athletics. We'll play the piece of audio and we'll discuss next.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you. Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Oh, hey. Welcome back.
Oh.
Who's back reporting for duty?
You got here just in time.
Holy nuts, man.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Remains to be seen, but there may not have been a bigger botched, or I think this actually is the biggest botched situation with a brand and logo or what have you since the Bud Light kerfuffle of a couple years ago. And this is the Cracker Barrel thing. So this has spawned a lot of, kind of fun stuff with the Cracker Barrel logo. So that we did a little AI today, Pilk, and that's what we came up with.
Looks good. Here's the big hen
you know
as well.
what? Hang on. Go back to me. I don't want to see Henry, Grandpa Jones there. I want to comment. Now, the radio audience can't see this, but it's on our socials. I just said, here's a picture, do the Cracker Barrel logo. And it made me look like $1 million. Those pearly white teethy things and svelte. Maybe green's my color. Okay, let's see Henry now.
All right.
Yeah, I do.
Here's the big hen.
I'm amazed. I mean, that's spot on.
It is. That is spot on.
For talk of the town. It's Henry sitting by the barrel with the microphone. There
The only thing that's not spot on is he doesn't have his laptop with him, because even if you see Henry sitting on his porch, he's answering some email. He's always got his laptop.
Why didn't he do that with his phone? Why didn't he, like the rest of America?
Because he has to answer like 40 billion emails. Also, man, the phone's too small for him to see.
Good point. So yesterday we had our inaugural broadcast of Inside Pirate Athletics. Lots of people said very nice things about the show and about my performance on the show, and I thank you very much. It's really nice of people to say that. It feels good to be recognized and such. With that said, Pilk, Coach Harrell has been, I don't want to say he's been guarded, but he's not doing coach speak. I don't think Blake Harrell has coach speak in him. But he hasn't really, we're kind of looking for that little ray of insight, that little spark of insight. And he said this last night, and I think it maybe has given us something that when you hear this and you're an East Carolina fan, you ought to feel very, very confident. Play it.
In the spring game, in practice several times, they hit 22 miles an hour. To put that in perspective, that's about what Keaton Mitchell hits. Keaton Mitchell might be just a touch faster, but they're pretty close. And talking about team speed, we have what called catapults, which is a GPS system. We had over 70 guys hit over 20 miles an hour this summer, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. Coach Baggett, our strength coach Mason, talks about, of all the places he's been, Oregon, Illinois, Maryland, Nevada, Virginia Tech, this is the fastest group he's ever been around.
You need to also play that for Logan because he'll tell you about speed. And he, to quote Logan, to quote our friend Doug Martin, which good luck to Doug. He's making his debut as the offensive coordinator at Elon on Thursday as they will open the season at Duke. And you can hear that game on Talk 103.7. Speed kills, man. Speed kills. And let's look, again, this isn't Blake. Blake's not a smoke blower. You talk about like a good, regardless of what happens on Thursday night, that's got to make you feel pretty good if there's that kind of speed on this roster.
Yeah, man, if you can run, that means you could run a 3-minute mile if you held that speed, 20 miles an hour. That is flying, baby. Flat out flying.
And nobody's running a mile in a football game at one time. So, I mean, that just tells you how explosive and fast this team could be. That was pointed out. I obviously piqued my interest when I heard that, but it was pointed out to me by several people who listened last night or watched and said, boy, you got Blake to really give you a really insightful piece of information there. So I think it's a great thing. I think that could be. Now look, NC State's got some great athletes on their roster too. But I don't. it would surprise me if ECU is going to be totally out-athleted on Thursday.
I don't think they will. They might be outsized. They will not be out-athleticismed or out-athleted. I don't think so, because you know who's the best? One of the best athletes in the NC State football program in the last 5 years? Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
You know what sideline he's going to be on?
Yes.
Not the Wolfies sideline, baby. Not the Wolfies.
Right. So, I mean, to me, that is a real little shot of confidence. And look, hope springs eternal. You mentioned the baseball schedule. As a baseball fan, spring, you're always optimistic. Unless you're an A's fan. You're always optimistic otherwise. But or a Pittsburgh fan. But
hey, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, at least you get Livy.
Oh, wait a minute. You don't like Kelsey and Taylor Swift. You get very upset about that and don't want to. But you'll talk about Livy Dunn and Paul Skeens.
They only show Livy like once a game.
Because he only pitches. They probably show him more than once a game. He only pitches once a week.
True, but when he does, they don't show her after every strikeout like they show Tay-Tay after every reception that Kelsey gets.
I also imagine Livy Dunn is not there mugging for the camera in a box like
No,
T-Swift.
She's probably not. Also, she's a 10, not a 6, so that's why I talk about her.
All right. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show for today, get the table set for the next couple of days, and get you ready for the Pirates and Pack. So stay tuned. It is the Patrick Johnson Show. You're on 94.3 The Game.
Cash in your trade-in at Greenville Toyota. Get a huge offer when you trade. Then save big on a brand new Corolla, just $229 a month. Or get a Tacoma, just $319 a month. Secure your Toyota now at Greenville Toyota.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors, with locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Turn your car into cash at Greenville Toyota. Cash in your trade-in today. Then get new Camry just $249 a month, or drive a new RAV4 $319 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
And now, the stunning conclusion. Why is everyone screaming? On 94.3 The Game.
So, we'll be preempted tomorrow by the Logan Zone. You can hear that here on 94.3 The Game. Also, we will be preempted by football coverage on Thursday with ECU opening the season against NC State. It will be a 4 o'clock airtime with our Pirate Game Day Countdown. And so that will be on during the time we're normally on. So those two programs will be occupying the space the next couple days. Of course, you can listen to it all on the IBX Media app. I'll be, of course, in the mornings on Talk of the Town, but also we'll be on the Rose commentary Thursday night as Rose takes on Washington. That'll be on Oldies 102.7 here in Greenville. And then back for the Patrick Johnson Show, we'll have post-mortem, little post-game reaction from NC State and the East Carolina Pirates. So go Pirates in that one. See you in the morning on Talk of the Town, and have a great rest of your evening, everybody.